Let's talk a bit about what has historically been the characteristic mark of witchcraft, spellcasting. Spellcasting is, if we try to work with a broad enough definition to encompass the many different cultural and indigenous practices of witchcraft around the world, typically consists of the inscription of runes or sigils, use of inscribed symbolism of some kind, herbs that are believed to hold certain energetic properties to affect change when manipulated by the witch, physical rituals, incantations, bring all of these components together to create talismans or for something small in hand to be a sympathetic representation of something larger. So when you figuratively or literally prick that thing in your hand, it corresponds to a certain point in that which is larger because you're channeling power through that magnetic force field that connects us all. Okay, clearly there's a lot more to it than that, but let's just start there. First, the sigil. If you're working with a Marseille deck, this is kind of easy, but it really won't matter which deck you go with. In the card you've chosen for the magical modification, choose one symbol in the card to retrace or redraw as the sigil that will activate the powers represented by that card. Let's use the Incidental Tarot by Holly D. Fount as an example. Say you selected key 10, Wheel of Fortune, which in the incidental tarot is Triskelion. Then what you see highlighted on screen would be the sigil you use to activate key 10. Or let's say you choose the Justice card, then perhaps you go with the Balancing Scales. If you chose Temperance, then perhaps your sigil will be the Flame. Let's go with the example of the Rider-Waite Smith. Here pictured is the Rider-Waite 1971 yellow box version by US Games. The total number of symbols for the suit and their arrangement per the card could be your sigil. In the Ten of Pentacles, for example, it's the specific arrangement of the 10 pentacles in the shape of the Tree of Life. In the Ten of Cups, it's the arched arrangement of 10 goblets. In my example of the Ace of Pentacles, I would trace that single pentacle medallion. I might add the hand too if I'm artsy. I really like the Bad Bitches tarot for this sort of spell crafting. The symbolism for sigil crafting here are really clear. Drawing the specific arrangement of the total number of pentacles, for instance, would become your sigil, or focusing in on one specific symbol that works for you. Now, on the note paper, I presume you have in front of you while you're watching this video, copy that symbol that's going to be your sigil for activating the powers of that card. Some tips on sigil crafting. Keep your sigil design simple. You're going to have to hand draw this. So a detailed masterpiece is not the best idea. Hey, you do you. I'm not saying you can't, but you're going to be drawing this sigil over and over and anointing with the sigil. So if you want to anoint the entire outline of Judgment all over your house, hey, go for it. But I suggest you design one easy to draw symbol in the card, like that red cross in Judgment or the horn or angel wings. You can also use the astrological glyph corresponding with the card. I work with Judgment as an elemental card, fire, for example, but its astrological correspondence when observing modern astrology is Pluto. Conceivably, you might work with a sigil like what you see on screen for Judgment. Recall earlier that reading we did for Emma and the magical modification card we selected was Strength. Go with the glyph for Leo. A miner's card like Nine of Cups corresponds with a deacon ruler, Jupiter and Pisces in this example. So you could stylize a sigil based on those astrological symbols. I'm about to transition over to my talking head to explain the oil and alcohol anointing blend you're going to make. But before we do, a quick note on correspondences. You'll be blending your own signature combination of ingredients that correspond with your element. For me, I'll be focusing on the correspondences for earth. I'll put in herbs or essential oils that correspond with earth. Again, depending on the tradition or system you work with, your correspondences may very well differ from mine. Many paths lead to the same destination, but I can't sit here all day babbling out all the different correspondence systems ever conceived for the tarot. So I'm going to stick with Hermeticism, Rosicrucianism, and references from the Golden Dawn. I'll also use the works of Agrippa for these elemental correspondences. To conjure the powers of my Ace of Pentacles through herbs, I might put into my carrier oil apple, cumin, jujubes, oakwood, patchouli, and vetiver.